The clink of our wine glasses in that dimly lit Italian place wasn't just a toast to 5 years married. It was a silent promise of forever wrapped in the cozy comfort of our love. To us, Tom whispered, his eyes twinkling in the candlelight, echoing memories of our Roman honeymoon where life felt like an endless adventure. That night, over plates of pasta that tasted almost as good as in Italy, we laughed, reminiscing about our awkward first dance and plans that never quite went as expected but somehow turned out better. Our life wasn't the stuff of fairy tales. It was better. Real, filled with Saturday mornings in pajamas, battling over who'd make coffee while the other tackled the mountain of laundry. We were a team, seamlessly moving through the chores, finding joy in the mundane. Our small suburban home, with its quirks and creaks, was our haven, a testament to our shared life, filled with love and the occasional disagreement over something as trivial as the right way to fold towels. Cooking was our thing. Every Thursday, we'd join Mia, Alex, Raj, and a bunch of others at the community center, chopping and stirring our way through new recipes. It was our way of unwinding, of connecting. These sessions often ended with us all sitting around a makeshift table, sharing stories and dishes that were sometimes good, sometimes disastrous, but always made with laughter. Life was good, simple yet fulfilling. Work was a grind, sure, but coming home to Tom made the long hours worthwhile. When I led my team to a project win, Tom was the first person I wanted to tell. His pride in me, his unwavering support, made every achievement sweeter. Then Michael walked into my life. He was new at work, with a wit that could cut through the tension of any meeting and a smile that, I hate to admit, made my heart skip. It was innocent, really. A lunch here, a coffee there, just colleagues getting to know each other. But as we delved deeper into conversations about everything and nothing, I found myself looking forward to those moments more than I should have. It's just lunch, I'd tell myself, ignoring the small voice in my head warning me I was treading dangerous waters. Michael was interesting, exciting in a way that made me feel alive, shaking the foundation of the life I had built with Tom. I didn't realize it then, but those lunches were more than just meals. They were the beginning of a chapter I never expected to write, one that would challenge everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and the choices we make when faced with the unexpected. The buzz of my phone had become my new heartbeat, erratic and secretive, each vibration a signal of my double life. Michael's name flashed across the screen more often than I cared to admit, each message a blend of excitement and guilt that I swallowed down with rehearsed justification. Tom doesn't even notice me anymore, I'd whisper to myself, a lie wrapped in the thin veneer of truth to mask the guilt gnawing at my conscience. The transition from emotional to physical was not planned. It was an accident waiting to happen, a line crossed after one too many late nights at the office. The guilt was immediate, a heavy stone in my stomach, yet I found myself returning to Michael, drawn by a connection I couldn't deny yet couldn't justify. Each kiss, each whispered promise was a betrayal, not just of Tom but of the woman I thought I was. Lying to Tom felt like walking on a tightrope without a safety net. Each excuse, each lie, was a step further away from the man I had vowed to spend my life with. It's just a work project, we're swamped, I said, watching his face for signs of doubt when he questioned the late-night texts. His trust was my safety net, one I was tearing apart with each passing day. Balancing my life with Tom and my secret with Michael was exhausting, a constant juggling act that left me anxious and frayed. I meticulously planned my days, ensuring no overlap, no slip-ups that could unravel the web of lies I had woven. But the fear of discovery was a constant shadow, darkening even the moments of supposed happiness with Michael. Suspicion crept into my life like a slow poison. Alex, Tom's friend, became the unexpected catalyst, his observations a mirror to the secrets I thought I had hidden so well. "Sarah's been working late a lot, hasn't she?" His casual comment to Tom over drinks one evening, laden with unspoken implications, was enough to plant the seeds of doubt. Tom's subsequent quiet, his eyes searching mine for truths I wasn't ready to give, signaled the beginning of the end. The facade of my double life was cracking, each close call with Tom, each suspicious glance from Alex, adding pressure. The guilt, once a dull ache, was now a sharp pain, a constant reminder of the chaos I had created. Yet, I couldn't stop, trapped in a cycle of justification and denial, convinced I could maintain this delicate balance without consequence. As the walls closed in, the thrill of secrecy lost its allure, replaced by the fear of losing everything I held dear. The realization that I was not the victim of circumstance but the architect of my own downfall was a bitter pill, one I wasn't yet ready to swallow. The moment Tom said, "We need to talk," my heart sank. I knew what was coming. The walls of denial I had built were about to crumble. "Alex mentioned you've been working late a lot," Tom began, his voice steady but his eyes betraying a storm of emotions. "Is there something you're not telling me?" His directness caught me off guard, my mind racing for excuses that sounded less and less convincing even to my own ears. "I don't know what you're talking about, Tom. I've just been really busy with work," I lied, my voice a mixture of defiance and desperation. The rift between us widened with every word, the trust we had built over the years cracking under the weight of my deceit. But it wasn't Alex's observations that broke the dam, it was my own carelessness. One night, Tom's doubt became too much, and he did what I had feared most. He went through my phone, unearthing the secret conversations, the undeniable proof of my betrayal. The confrontation that followed was the most heart-wrenching moment of my life. "How could you, Sarah?" Tom's voice cracked, holding my phone like it was a piece of evidence in a trial where we were both losing. I had no defense, no more lies to hide behind. The truth spilled out in a messy confession, my apologies a feeble attempt to mend what I had shattered. "I'm so sorry, Tom. I never wanted to hurt you." But my words were empty, too late to heal the wounds I had inflicted. The decision for Tom to leave felt like a verdict being passed. He packed his bags, each item a memory, a piece of our life together being compartmentalized into suitcases too small to hold our dreams. Watching him walk away, I felt a part of me leave with him, the finality of his departure a stark reality I wasn't prepared to face. In the days that followed, I tried to reach out, my messages and calls a mix of apologies and pleas for a second chance. But Tom was gone, his silence a clear message that some mistakes couldn't be undone. The emptiness of our home echoed my loneliness, a constant reminder of the life and love I had gambled away. When the divorce papers arrived, it felt like signing away pieces of myself. Each signature a confirmation of my failure, my acceptance of the consequences of my actions. Signing those papers was the hardest thing I had ever done, a solemn end to the chapters of love and laughter that once filled our lives. Living alone, I was haunted by the ghost of our marriage, the memories of Tom lingering in the silence. The weight of my choices bore down on me, a relentless reminder of the cost of my betrayal. The legal finality of our divorce did nothing to ease the ache in my heart, the loss of not just my husband, but my best friend, my partner, and the life we had built together. The morning I walked into work to find a meeting request from HR in my inbox, I knew the floor was about to drop out from under me. My hands shook as I clicked open the email, the digital words a cold prelude to the demotion that awaited. "Sarah, your recent performance has not met the standards we expect at this company," my manager said, not unkindly, but the disappointment in his eyes was a sharp jab to my already bruised ego. The professional fallout from my personal life's implosion was now complete. I had fallen from grace, my career another casualty in a war one had waged against myself. The isolation that followed was profound. Friends, once a shared treasure between Tom and me, now seemed to have chosen sides, and it wasn't mine. Invitations dried up, and my phone, once a lifeline to laughter and companionship, fell silent. The loneliness was a constant echo, a reminder of the community we had built together that I was no longer part of. Their absence was a clear indictment of my choices, a social exile that stung more than I cared to admit. Then, Michael left. The man for whom I had risked everything decided that this was too complicated, too messy. "I'm sorry, Sarah, but this isn't what I want," he said, his words the final blow in a series of losses. The irony wasn't lost on me. The affair that had promised excitement and escape had left me more trapped than ever, alone in the ruins of my decisions. In the silence that Michael's departure left, I was forced to confront the magnitude of my actions. The realization of what I had done, the pain I had caused Tom, and the life I had so carelessly thrown away, weighed heavily on me. The regret was a constant companion, whispering reminders of the happiness I had sabotaged. Hearing about Tom's new life through the grapevine was a bittersweet pill. He had moved on, found a new city, a new job, and, apparently, a new partner. The knowledge was a sharp pang, a mix of relief that he was finding happiness again and a deep, aching sorrow that it was without me. The moment I saw them together at a mutual friends event, laughter easy between them, something inside me broke. There was a finality in his happiness, a clear sign that the chapter of us was well and truly closed. I had held on to a thread of hope that there was still a connection, but seeing him so content, so healed, severed it. In a moment of desperation, I reached out, hoping for a chance to talk, to apologize, to seek some form of closure. But Tom's refusal to meet was the closure I hadn't known I needed. His silence spoke volumes, a clear message that it was time for me to let go, to stop reaching for a past that had crumbled through my own actions. That night, as I sat alone in the silence of the home we once shared, I realized that the journey ahead was mine alone. The path to forgiveness, to rebuilding, didn't lie in the past I had destroyed but in the future I had yet to create. Tom had moved on, and it was time for me to do the same, however daunting that prospect seemed. The moment I lost the Jefferson account, I could almost hear the final nail in the coffin of my career being hammered in. "Sarah, this is a significant loss for us," my boss said, disappointment etched in every word. I sat there, numb, the professional facade I had maintained for so long finally crumbling. My mind wasn't on my work, it hadn't been for months. It was lost in a whirlwind of regret and what-ifs, a tempest that had now cost me one of our biggest clients. Evenings were the hardest. The house that once buzzed with laughter and love now stood silent, a mausoleum to my broken marriage. I'd wander from room to room, trailing my fingers over surfaces, conjuring memories of better days that played out like ghosts before my eyes. The loneliness was suffocating, a constant reminder of the void left by Tom's absence. In a bid to quell the solitude, I ventured back into the dating scene, a decision that felt more like a betrayal than a step forward. Each date was a stark reminder of what I had lost. Laughter felt forced, conversations, hollow. No one could penetrate the fortress of guilt I had built around myself. My heart, still entangled in the ruins of my marriage, refused to let anyone else in. One evening, the weight of my loneliness and regret converged into a breakdown that left me gasping for air. The floor of my living room became my solace, a place to let the tears and heartache spill out unchecked. It was there, amidst the sobs and shattered pieces of my life, that I realized the full extent of what I had lost. Not just Tom, but a part of myself, too. Therapy was my next step, a desperate attempt to find a way through the fog of my own making. Sitting in that sterile room, recounting the steps that led me to this point, I began the slow process of understanding my actions and seeking forgiveness, not from Tom, but from myself. It was a journey fraught with pain, but necessary. Driven by a need for closure, I penned a letter to Tom, pouring every ounce of my remorse and longing for forgiveness onto the paper. It was an apology from the deepest part of my soul, an acknowledgement of the hurt I had caused. I mailed it without any expectation of a reply, a symbolic gesture more for me than for him. The response I had secretly hoped for never came. Tom's silence was a clear message, a final seal on the chapter of our lives together that I had so carelessly torn apart. It was a painful acceptance, but in its own way, it granted me a sense of closure. The journey forward was mine alone, a path I had to tread with the lessons of my past firmly in hand. The road to redemption was long and uncertain, but for the first time since everything fell apart, I felt a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, I could rebuild from the ruins. The moment my boss called me into his office, I knew my time was up. "Sarah, we need to talk about your performance," he began, his tone laden with a finality that echoed the hollow feeling in my stomach. The words that followed were a blur, a mix of downsizing and difficult decisions, but the message was clear. I was out of a job. The walk back to my desk was a walk of shame, my personal failures spilling over into my professional life, leaving me adrift in a sea of uncertainty. The decision to leave came as a sudden impulse, a desperate need to escape the ruins of my life. Packing up my belongings felt like shedding a skin, each box a container for the memories and mistakes I was eager to leave behind. The drive to my new city was a journey between two selves, the person I had been and the person I hoped to become. Starting over was no small feat. The new job I landed was a far cry from the position I had lost, a reminder of how far I had fallen. Yet, there was a certain relief in starting from scratch, a humbling experience that forced me to confront the realities of my situation head-on. It was a chance to rebuild, to prove to myself that I could rise from the ashes of my own making. The weight of my past decisions lingered heavily, a constant companion in my solitary moments. It was in these moments of reflection that I understood the true cost of my actions, the loss of love, of trust, and of the life I had once cherished. The realization was a bitter pill, but it marked the beginning of a long overdue process of acceptance. Establishing a new routine in this unfamiliar city was like learning to navigate a foreign land. I threw myself into my work with a fervor I hadn't felt in months, determined to make the most of this second chance. Outside of work, I filled my time with activities that nourished my soul, from early morning runs to quiet evenings spent reading or exploring my new surroundings. It was a simple life, but it was mine, free from the shadows of my past. The unexpected encounter with Michael at a conference was a test I hadn't anticipated. Seeing him there, amidst the crowd, reignited a storm of emotions within me: anger, betrayal, and a lingering sense of what could have been. Yet, as I stood there, facing the man who had once turned my world upside down, I realized that he no longer held any power over me. Walking away from him, I felt a sense of closure, a final confirmation that I was moving in the right direction. Volunteering became a cornerstone of my new life, a way to give back and connect with others on a level one had never experienced before. Helping those in need offered a perspective that was both humbling and healing, allowing me to step outside of myself and see the world through the eyes of others. It was through this work that I began to rebuild my sense of self-worth, finding strength in the resilience of the human spirit. This journey of self-discovery and recovery was not without its challenges, but each step forward was a step away from the person I had been. In the end, it was the realization that true growth comes from facing our deepest fears and failures head-on, and the understanding that it's never too late to change the course of our story. The day I stepped into the coffee shop, a place once fraught with memories of Tom and me, my heart raced, not from fear, but from a newfound sense of belonging. There, amidst the familiar aroma of roasted beans and the gentle hum of quiet conversations, I found myself surrounded by a group of people who, like me, were on their own journeys of recovery and discovery. These new friendships, built on the solid ground of honesty and mutual respect, became my anchor, gradually filling the void left by the friends who sided with Tom. Months rolled by, and the sharp edges of my past began to blur. The affair, the collapse of my marriage, transformed from raw, open wounds into scars, reminders of a chapter closed, lessons learned. In this distance from my past, I found a clarity I hadn't realized I was searching for, a perspective that allowed me to look back without being consumed by regret. Solitude, once my prison, became my sanctuary. In the quiet moments of my new life, I discovered a peace I hadn't known was possible. There was beauty in the stillness, a gentle strength in the ability to sit with myself, unburdened by the tumult of my emotions. It was in these moments that I reconnected with parts of myself I had long neglected. Cooking, a hobby Tom and I once shared with love and laughter, found its way back into my life. But this time, it was a bridge to my own soul, a way to nourish not just my body but my spirit. Each dish was a celebration of simplicity, a joy found in the rhythm of chopping and stirring, a testament to the healing powers of returning to one's roots. Therapy sessions became my compass, guiding me through the murky waters of self-reflection and accountability. Acknowledging my mistakes wasn't easy. Understanding the depth of the hurt I caused was even harder. Yet, it was through this raw, unflinching examination of my actions that I began to truly understand the importance of accountability, the first step on the long road to forgiveness of myself, and hoping for forgiveness from those I wronged. Growth is a painful process, marked by setbacks and victories in equal measure. But as I stood, looking back on the path I had traveled, I saw not just the pain I had endured but the strength I had found within myself. I had grown, not in spite of my adversities, but because of them. My past, with all its turmoil, was the crucible that forged the person I was becoming. The encounter with Tom, during an unexpected visit back to our old city, was a testament to how far I had come. Seeing him, cordial yet distant, was a poignant reminder of what we had shared and what we had lost. Yet, there was no bitterness, only a silent acknowledgement of the journey we had both undertaken since our paths diverged. In his demeanor, I saw the closure I had been seeking, a sign that it was truly time to move forward. Acceptance was my final frontier. Accepting the end of my marriage, the consequences of my actions, was a solemn process, a quiet surrender to the realities of my choices. But in this acceptance, I found a sense of peace, a closure that allowed me to look to the future with hope. I understood, perhaps for the first time, the preciousness of what I once had and the cost of my choices. Rebuilding my life wasn't just about moving past my mistakes. It was about learning from them, about crafting a future that honored the lessons my past had taught me. As I stepped forward, I carried with me the wisdom of my journey, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of forgiveness